Hello, it's your friendly grouchy historian, and in this video we're going to dive right into the introduction to AP American history. Okay, so before we get into the individual chapters, we're going to get into the overview of the test. So AP American history has 4 parts. Okay, they're organized basically into two parts for time. Part 1 is 95 minutes, which consists of 55 multiple choice questions and 3 short answer essays. Okay, so the way the test is broken up, you have 55 minutes to do the 55 multiple choice questions. We're going to talk about some strategies for that because it's not as much time as you think. And then you have the remaining time to answer 3 short answer questions. And then part 2 is 100 minutes, which is based into document-based questions, which are a longer essay based on your ability to analyze and synthesize the multiple sources that are provided with the question with your own knowledge of what you've learned. And then, of course, the long essay is the capstone essay that's based on your knowledge and ability to analyze and organize what you've learned in the American history class. This is how the 2020 test was set up. I'm assuming that the 2020 test will probably remain pretty much what they do for the upcoming academic year, given everything that's gone on. If there are any changes, I will, once I find those out, I will make another video and let you know. So what are they looking for? As I discussed in my video that I made of an introduction to studying history overall, they are looking for your ability to analyze primary and secondary sources. I discussed each of these, their pros and cons in the video on the introduction to studying history. Of course, as a historian, your #1 task is to develop a coherent argument or thesis using these sources. And of course, because this is an academic subject, there are thematic learning objectives that they're looking to test you on. These are listed here: American and national identity, work, commerce, industry, and technology, geography and the environment, the movement and transformation of society and social changes, politics, regional culture, and America in the world. Sadly, no military history. I, of course, consider this a significant oversight, but I don't make the test. I just am following along. Now, how to study for the test. Any standardized test is about, in my opinion, having taken a number of them in the course of my life, is about 51% knowledge and about 49% test-taking ability. Let's be honest. These tests are not only designed to test your knowledge, but they kind of put a little pressure under you to see how you can take the knowledge that you have learned, hopefully, and organize it and put it into an essay form, right? So the multiple choice questions, again, there's 55 of those that you have to take within 55 minutes. Those are done basically by a process of elimination. Again, my experience with taking lots of multiple choice tests, there's usually two answers you can throw away right off the bat, and the other 2 you have to think through, right? The important thing here is to keep an eye on your time. Again, you have 55 questions in 55 minutes. You can't spend 10 minutes thinking about each question because you just won't get done. For the essay questions, again, there's a short answer, there's a document base, there's a long base. There's some general principles for all of these and for any essay question, actually, that you can apply to help you out with taking the test. Again, time management is key here, okay? So first of all, read the question slowly. Read the entire question. Read the sources all the way through. Don't take shortcuts on reading the materials provided. As you read, underline key phrases, definitions, people, or dates. Chances are, if they put them in here, there's a reason. Chances are they're going to show up in your answer somewhere, okay? Now, the most important aspect of taking an essay test or doing any essay or really any writing project, as I have always told my students, is always, always, always make an outline. It doesn't have to be formal. You're the only one using it. You're not turning it in for a grade, but you do need to have an outline to make sure that your answer is focused, coherent, and answers the question, right? So the guidelines that are in a study book first important thing, I recommend that if you really want to do well at this test, you get one of the study guides. I have the Princeton review one that I have used. There's also a Kaplan, I think, and some other ones. Not necessarily because the books are going to, teach you anything that you hopefully didn't already learn in class, although they will emphasize a few things, but because they have practice tests. The Princeton one here that I have has 5 different practice tests. These are important. Do the practice tests. I know they're a pain, they take some time, but the principle of having the practice tests is to get you familiar with the format, give you a chance to practice pacing yourself. Not necessarily to test your knowledge per se, because hopefully you'll work your way through that, but to give you an idea of where you get stuck, how well you do with your time management, and where you need to make some improvements in your test taking skills, if not necessarily your knowledge. So buy the study guide. They're about 20 bucks on Amazon, and do the practice tests. Okay, when you're doing the essays, you should assume, and this is the guideline out of the book here, 1 paragraph for short answer and about 5 paragraphs for the document-based and longer essays, right? So what they're looking for here clearly with any essay is that you are logical and concise, all right? So for the longer ones, okay, your first paragraph is basically the thesis. What is your answer to the question? You then have 3 paragraphs to support that with data, facts, and argument, either provided in the documents or from your own knowledge. And of course, the 5th paragraph is the summation that basically restates your thesis. What I like to tell my students is anytime you organize an essay, your first paragraph, you're always going to tell them what you're going to tell them. Then the next 3 to 4 paragraphs, depending on what you're doing, you tell them what you were going to tell them. And then the 5th paragraph, or the ending paragraph, you sum it up and tell them what you've told them, right? Tell them what you're going to tell them, support your argument, tell them what you've told them, okay? This is key. They're looking for your ability to organize, synthesize, which means to blend different information sources together into a logical, coherent argument, and then how you use your writing skills. So you need to have a topic sentence for each paragraph. Use simple, straightforward language, right? You're not filling up, right? You're not trying to fill a 5-page essay here with a lot of fluff. The challenge to writing short answers is actually, I think, greater than writing a long essay, because you don't have a lot of time to waste or space to waste. You have to get to the point quickly, concisely, accurately, and logically. Most importantly, and this is a step that a lot of students skip to their demise, proofread. Let me say that again. Proofread your own work. What I tell my students is that you should read, if you have time, and this is where time management comes in, you should always proofread something 3 times. I call it like the holy trinity of writing. The first time you read through, to make sure that your mechanics are correct. Punctuation, spelling, sentence structure, verb tense, all of those grammatical things that are not going to go well with a test grader. Number 2, you want to look at your word choice. Did you pick the right word? Are you repetitious? Did you use very, very, very? Or did you use a particular adjective or adverb? I try to tell my students you shouldn't have the same word repeated in a paragraph. Okay, so the second time through, you want to look at word choice. The third time through is to read it to see if you've actually made a coherent argument that you wanted to make. Did you answer the question? Were you logical? Were you straightforward? Was it easy to understand? I don't think the test takers are looking to see how well you can use a thesaurus. They want to know if you can answer the question. Okay, so always, always, always proofread. Don't skip that step. Too many students do, and they miss easy mistakes, usually grammatical ones, that come back to bite them. So always, always, always proofread. Now, hopefully this has given you a good start. We're now going to go through the individual time periods that are organized in the course and hit some of the highlights and points to consider if you have an essay question from that time period.